We scrutinized the video footage as though we were analyzing the Zapruder film, and lo and behold, we did indeed find physical contact, namely, Marg walked into the microphone of an independent journalist. Check it out.
Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
Hey folks, you may recall that we bumped into Marg, Warrior Princess, recently upgraded to Marg, Warrior Queen, outside the Canadian Museum of History in Gatineau, Quebec. That was earlier this month when the museum was serving as the venue for the French language leaders debate. Marg, who, aka Mary Walsh, is one of those alleged comedians on This Hour Has 22 Minutes. She was doing her shtick, you know, cracking funny political jokes and dancing with her dual swords. Question, by the way, how does someone armed with swords get anywhere near political leaders? Or is there a different set of rules when it comes to CBC employees? In any event, we inquired why Marg thinks that she should be entitled to taxpayer dollars for her gainful employment on the CBC. And her various answers were the most hilarious things Marg had to say, perhaps in the history of This Hour Has 22 Minutes. Here, check it out.
I have never heard that before. Isn't that interesting? Every single goddamn conservative through the history since I've been alive has wanted to do that. So maybe Mr. Bernier could come up with something new.
Why is it that Canadian taxpayers are forced into funding the CBC to more than $1 billion a year?
Why are the British taxpayers forced into supporting the BBC, one of the greatest public broadcasters in the world? The CBC is right up there with that, and it's Canadians, it's nobody's force. Canadians, it's Canadians' choice. They can vote for Mr. Bernier, and he can defund the CBC. I mean, that's what democracy is all about.
Why the entitlement? Why the entitlement that you are so, entitled to taxpayer dollars?
It's not an entitlement. It's simply democracy. If the Canadian people no longer want the CBC, they've just vote in Mr. O'Toole or Mr. Bernier, and they axe the CBC, and it's gone.
But why?
That's the beauty.
But why do we need
democracy as opposed to like rebel media?
Wow, I'm entitled to my entitlements. In any event, we returned to the Canadian Museum of History the following night for the English language leaders debate. And there was Marg yet again doing her stale shtick. But this time, a group of mostly PPC demonstrators were heckling her to such an extent that Marg and her camera crew made a beeline to their nearby minivans to facilitate a hasty retreat. The people had spoken, and what they were chanting was not CBC-friendly content at all. I caught up with Marg, who sadly was locked outside of her Dodge Caravan. I started asking queries yet again about why she feels so entitled to taxpayer funding. But things took a dark twist. Marg said that not only had she been subjected to verbal abuse, but she had been physically assaulted. Check it out.
Okay.
One of you guys, nice to see you too.
No, I did.
One of your guys just hit me with.
Well, if that's true, wait a minute, that's wrong.
Seriously.
Hold on a second.
But of course,
If anyone hit you,
Proud Boys.
No.
Don't. And Rebel Media is part of Proud Boys.
You know what, Marg? That's not fair. But I'm telling you, if anyone, watch out, your Dollarama swords are going to be breaking there.
Now, as I said, the use of physical force, that's outrageous. That's egregious. That has to be condemned. But did Marg really get assaulted that night? Well, here's the rest of the story. We scrutinized the video footage as though we were analyzing the Zapruder film. And lo and behold, we did indeed find physical contact. Namely, Marg walked into the microphone of an independent journalist. Check it out. Wow, and this, Marg would have us believe, is a physical assault? Now, we did reach out for comment in case we missed something, but no comments were forthcoming. Apparently, Marg loves to pepper targets with idiotic questions, but she has zero tolerance when it comes to fielding questions to her. In any event, methinks the CBC Khaleesi protests way too much. But then again, when it comes to the fake news factory that is the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, does this latest whopper regarding false victimhood come as a surprise to anyone? For Rebel News, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Hey folks, can you believe it? Vaccine passports are now a fact of life in Ontario. No jabs, no jobs. Are you kidding me? You can't get into a movie theater, an indoor restaurant, a gym without proof of vaccination? That's not right. Please go to fightvaccinepassports.com. That's fightvaccinepassports.com. If you're able to, make a donation so that we can fight this medical apartheid.